Hello and welcome everyone to another build order video on this channel. Today with the Wolf Clan Field Ration build. A build that might some of you already fear quite a bit, because wolves are already running around for quite a while with this build and also having quite some success with it. So let's not talk around for too long and just jump right into the build. The build starts off quite normal, of course, with the scout camp and the house. You don't need to build the house in the first minute, you can also wait a little bit to build it somewhere else. I just like it to build it in the first second to make it a little bit easier. Then you're gonna look around with your scouts for your free areas. A forest could of course be quite helpful, and you'll only need one food source, so you should pick out the strongest one around you and go for that. In general, you'll only need one stone, one food source and your iron for this build, but everything you can get in addition can of course help you to get a little bit stronger for the late game or have a little bit stronger gold economy. After you found your iron and the most important tiles around you want to get your scouts back. So I were quite lucky here to have a forest with 2 sheeps on. I'm of course not going to use the sheep right here, I'm just gonna build the woodcutter's lodge onto the forest. I will put one woodcutter on that woodcutter's lodge and start building the wood camp as soon as I have the 50 wood for it. But while I'm doing that, I'm still scouting out the areas around, and as soon as I'm finished with that, I will start clearing out the areas around me. Of course, with the same importance as before, that you definitely want to reach one of your stones and one of your irons with that. After that, I built a second wood camp on a tile where I have enough space on it, because usually if you do that in time, you should have enough time to get the wood together for the house that you need. I actually built a dock that you usually want to build after the house, before the house, because I had a little bit of a gold problem here. If you don't have that problem, I would suggest you to go for the house a little bit earlier, because I'm gonna get housed here and you of course don't want to do that, but for me it was the best solution, and if you are in the same situation, I would also suggest you to build the dock before the house. You will need to have the dock a little bit earlier than with other builds, because you are not going to go for trading on the lore tree, but we're going to go more in depth about that right now. We're going to start it off here with sharp axes. You could also think about starting off with weaponsmith. If you get it before you actually start clearing, it could help you a little bit, because we will aiming for spoils of war before we are aiming for the other goals anyways. Our way would be going over colonization to medicine to field rations to get a little bit stronger, and later on we could also think about going for plunder, military strategy or conqueror, whatever could help us the most in that situation. I'm gonna build a few towers here around the areas that were quite important. You don't have to build these, you can of course go for the risk. It will make the build a little bit faster than I have it right here. But if you want to go the safe route, you can also build the towers on areas where you think there could be attacks coming in. After that, I will be building the second dock. In some cases you can actually get around that, but since I don't have early lore right here and I don't really have any shipwrecks or ruins to feed from, I will definitely need a second dock here to get my berserker out as soon as possible and for all the upgrades we will need. After that, you should try to build the iron mine as soon as possible, and after that the stone mine. Since you don't need to focus the iron as much, since you only need 5 of it, but if you have the 150 gold, you should really try to bring out your berserker as soon as possible. I could have also thought about going for colonization with this build, because it could help me to take the area just above me right there that I still will need to take. But I'll still be going for weaponsmith, because I feel that the berserker could help me to get out of a little bit of a gold bottleneck later on. After I got the 5 iron together, I get my iron miner to get a scout, because I definitely need to find a few more areas to actually feed a little bit of the map with my berserker. So if you didn't happen to have all too many areas scouted also, you should definitely do that right now. I'm trying to keep a little bit of a wood stock, because as soon as we're getting the field tile, we will be building a field, a healer's hut and a silo on it as soon as we can. And if you got your food tile already, you should already do that right now. I'm mostly waiting on my berserker in that situation to feed a little bit of the map to being able to take this tile. After I got that done, I'll do what I said. Take the tile, get a field and the healer's hut on it, get a lore master on it, that you could have also had working all the time before if you already had a lore stone, and trying to build a silo on there as soon as I can. With spoils of war coming in, we can start clearing out draugrs on the map with the berserker to get a little bit of military experience and gold coming in. You want to upgrade your main hall and your healer's hut as soon as possible after that, since you usually save the gold for the berserker before that, but after that you want to get constant fast healing for your berserker as soon as possible, even though you won't have medicine at this point. point usually. As you see, I tried to get as much work out of my berserker as I can, so my healers don't need to stop working and I don't need to worry as much about them not having medicine, so I don't need to micro them all around all the time. And also it makes of course a lot of sense to use the berserker. While this winter I'll try to get my first war camps up, I usually stick down to axe-thrower camps at the start because axe-throwers are a quite good unit to micro around, even though you can be countered quite easy by shields. I actually destroyed my iron mine after I got the 5 iron and destroyed my stone mine after I got the 20 stone out of it. This is just a really efficient way to do it because you don't need to pay any upkeep for those mines after that anymore. But if the game goes a little bit longer, you will usually be better off if you mine the rest of the iron and the stone and put it into other upgrades. But just for the general build, the 20 stone will be enough to upgrade your main hall and your healer set. The 5 iron will be enough to get out the berserker. With Yord's blessing coming in later on, the 15 stone will be enough to upgrade your scout camp and a dock to make your gold economy a little bit more efficient, and the 10 iron will be enough to upgrade your axe throwers. While that time your wood economy is basically only there to get enough wood for the upgrades and build a few more camps. I think you should at least have around 10 or 12 warband, even though you won't have it right away. After that you can actually slow down on wood a little bit and just watch out that you don't start freezing in the winter months. After you get the medicine lore, you can of course put 3 healers into the healer's hut and don't need to worry anymore to micro them around, because they will now start gathering food at a little bit higher rate than a villager actually, because you got the silo in the tile. While all that time I will still run around with the berserker and try to get everything off the map that I can, not only to get military experience but also to get all the food and gold out of the map that I can. As soon as the field rations law hit, you can start adding in more and more axe throwers to your army. Since they will almost consume no food, you can use them now for all the game and don't need to convert them back anymore. The only thing you should really watch out for is to not lose them on the battlefield, because you will not have that easy of a time to get back onto the gold. With more and more axe throwers you can now clear out bigger and bigger tiles to get more and more gold, to get more and more axe throwers. If you don't lose too many axe throwers while that, you should have a quite decent army size after a short time. With that you can maybe think about to already harass your enemy, because you will also get gold off the villagers and warriors you kill off him. Just keep in mind that you also don't really want to lose units to your opponent, because you don't really have that easy of a time to get your army back up. But as long as you can harass him without losing anything, you should be actually doing something worthy, because you will actually pressure your opponent into popping out some army against you. While most clans don't really like to have a permanent army up, but you as the wolf camp player don't really have a problem with that. Just push into other tiles, heal your army up and repeat. I went for the tactician tree and warcry at this point, because the warcry is very strong at this point, fearing all the enemy units for 4 seconds. But please keep in mind that warcry may have changed if you watch this video a few months after the release of it. I used colonization and the special ability of your berserker that you get on 200 fame to colonize an area for free, to colonize as close as possible to my enemy, as you can see right here. You can also use that to get a little bit bigger of a territory, maybe even for macro games where you went for more stone and everything and just have a strong eco. But if you're playing the aggressive wolf in a team game or duel, I can definitely suggest you this type of play, because you will negate almost everything of your supply lines debuff. Use the warcry to enter into tiles, because usually you will have a 1 second delay of attack when you enter into the tile, but if you enter the tile and warcry just right in that second, you can negate that bonus and actually bring you a little bit in an advantage. Warcry does especially work good with axe throwers if you didn't try it out. Please really watch out with the wolf clan to not get boxed in by other enemies, because if you lose your army you will really have a rough time to build it up again. It will most likely lose the game. With that I want to end this little build order video right here. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you took something with it that you didn't know before, and that you enjoy the Wolf Clan Field Rations build order as long as it lasts. Have a great day everyone, and maybe see you back in the next video. Bye bye!